Hello and welcome back to the Stronghold. I'm the Magi. That's right, I decided it was time to take an on-screen persona. And it's that time again. It's midweek, and I want you to play some Magic so you can win 2 free rare or better ICRs. Yep, that's right, kids. Welcome to Midweek Magic Part 2, now on Thursday. This Gladiator event is nothing more than a remasked Midweek Magic, but don't let the mask here fool ya. Sorry, I'm getting used to using the hands on the webcam. This event is still good. Just like Midweek Magic, there is no reason you should not participate. So stay tuned and we'll talk about the similarities and the differences, and more specifically, decks and strategy for this event. But before we get into all that, I am super excited at the prospect of getting to 500 subs, because that is going to allow me to do a lot of really cool community building stuff for y'all over on EtherHub. So take just a moment, do all those YouTube things to support the channel, and I won't have to be awkward about it. Now, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, right. All right, so like we said, there is a ton of similarities here with Midweek Magic. For one, there is no entry fee here. For two, you do get a rare or better ICR. Actually, it doesn't stipulate or better, so maybe there's no chance of upgrade. We'll have to see. But you do get a rare ICR for your first and your second win. There is no cosmetic option for a third win, but, you know, cry me a river. Most of the time, I don't play for the third win anyway. It is running, well, actually for nearly twice as long as Midweek Magic typically does, for about 4 days here. And the first question I asked when I came to this is, what's the difference between Gladiator and Singleton? And from what I can see, the principal difference is marketing related. I guess Gladiator has some online community and some things like that that they can tie into and put a little fresher spin on it. Singleton has never been all that evocative or popular. It does use a 100 card deck, or I should say a minimum 100 card. So I think the arena limit is something like 300. There is no sideboarding, so of course you can't use things that let you go fetch cards out of your sideboard. That's a thing. And there, of course, is a maximum of 1 copy of each card in your deck, much like Singleton or Commander. But all of those cards that allow you to have as many copies as you want override that. So things like Persistent Petitioners or Rat Colony, all of those cards you can still run as many of them as you want. And for me, I think that's a very interesting attribute here. Definitely one I'm looking to explore. As far as differences on this, it is a best of 3 event. So plan on this event taking a little longer than you normally do for a Midweek Magic, because even though there's no sideboard, you still have to play best of 3 just to eliminate the possibility of luck. But my guess is you didn't win or lose the first game because of luck. That's just differences in how the decks are built. So probably most games are going to go to 2, not to 3. There are a few banned cards here, but really it's only 5. Field of the Dead, Natural Order, Nexus of Fate, Oko, Thief of Crowns, and Teferi Time Raveler. And most of those are mythics, so probably not a big concern for the budget community. And while I have a deck ready for you that we're getting ready to talk about, I think it's also an important budget aspect to consider that they have promised to deliver us 10 deck lists available directly through the client. You won't have to upload these or download these or any of that stuff. 10 decks for this style format. Presumably these people are kind of expert in the field. They're community leaders on this whole Gladiator thing. So my expectation is that these are some of the best decks available, made by some of the best people around. And if my deck doesn't fit your collection or your play style, definitely give these some consideration. I would think with 11 options, you're going to find something that comes pretty close to matching your play style and your collection. And if you're a couple of wildcards short here, particularly on these 10 curated decks, if you're a little bit off, probably the cards that you're missing are well worth considering investing a wild card into. Because of course it's a singleton format, and if it's good here, it's probably good in Brawl, Commander, whatever you might want to call it. It's probably worth having in Historic and or possibly Explorer, depending upon the card in question. So definitely give these decks the eye. I know I am going to be saving a copy of these and perusing all of them, looking for any sleeper cards that maybe I should be recommending for people's Historic collection. So now let's talk about the deck I'm going to be playing, which of course is Dragons, because I just haven't gotten enough Dragons lately. And speaking of things I don't get enough of, since Gladiator has every card legal on Arena, that means things that are normally not allowed in your Historic Brawl or your Historic are apparently going to be legal here. So I'm running cards like Brainstorm, Lightning Bolt, Memory Lapse, Negate. I don't think Negate is actually banned, but anywho, we're running a lot of that. And as we talked about, Dragon's Approach is one of those cards that you are allowed to run more than one. And it's the theme of this deck. I've absolutely loved it recently. We're running 20 copies of Dragon's Approach. Don't worry, once you have 4 copies, you can run as many of them as you want. You don't actually have to spend 20 wild cards to get a full playset of Dragon's Approach for this deck. 4 will do. And since it was available as recently as Strixhaven, I really don't think there's any reason you don't already have 4 copies of this. But well worth the fun. In addition, I'm running Spikefield Hazard. I think any red mage should have this in their Historic collection. Similarly, Jawari Disruption. Any blue mage should have this in their Historic collection. It's just that good. Beyond that, we are running 35 additional lands, primarily in the Temur colors. We do have some things like Ancient Ziggurat, that will produce any color as long as we're casting a creature, and well, we basically are. Uncharted Haven lets us fix a color. Unclaimed Territory lets us name Dragon and cast a bunch of stuff. But the only thing that I'm running in this current build that isn't in the Temur colors is Tiamat, because she allows me to tutor up a bunch of dragons, and that's really, really cool. Originally, this was more of a 5-color dragon build, but it was like 140 cards, and I had to trim it down, and eventually it just made more sense to run it just as a mostly red Temur base, and that's what you see is red dragons and good stuff. Let's see, from here, Dragonspire, of course, Fearsome Whelp. If you don't know this card, I don't know, I guess maybe you haven't played Alchemy at all. I don't know. Lava Coil, great red card, goes to the face, good stuff. Reckless Barbarian, kind of a new dragon, allows you to ramp, which is really, really good. Scaled Naturalist, again, allows you to ramp. Growth Spiral is ramp. Scale Singer, you may cast dragon spells from the top of your library. Seems really good in a deck like this. Mind Stone is just one of those commander staples that allows you to ramp and draw cards. Lapis Dragon Orb is, ramping and card selection. Dragon Turtle, this was part of last year's new player experience, and it allows you to take a little control of the battlefield if you need to for only 3 mana. Double blue pips might be a little hard on turn 3, but I think this gets there, and the fact that you have Flash gives you a little bit of a surprise factor. The flash allows you to take control of the game state and have use of your Dragon Turtle first, which is kind of nice. Breath Weapon is that non-dragon blanket removal. You're probably going to see some token decks out there, so that's why I'm running this. Brittle Blast is just a nice, solid removal spell, courtesy of the Alchemy format. The red orb is ramping and aggression with our dragons, gaining them all haste. And not all dragons have haste, but if you ever talk to a dragon, they think they have haste, so this just kind of makes it a thing. Swashbuckler Extraordinaire allows you to basically just win out of nowhere. Absolutely wonderful by giving a creature that's difficult to block or that they can't block. Double strike will usually end the game. Jade Orb makes all your dragons stronger, and again, if you've spent any time talking to a dragon, they all think they're stronger anyway. Cabaretti Rebels, because, you know, why stop at one dragon? If you can play a dragon and then get another dragon, that just seems good. Faithless Agent, it's the same kind of idea. It comes into play, it's a dragon. It seeks up another dragon card to your hand, so it's virtual card draw. Very, very nice. Emulator, I think if you've played or watched any of my Baldur's Gate Limited stuff, you're pretty familiar with this. Young Red Dragon is fixing acceleration. Very, very nice. Town-Razer Dragon, or Town-Razer Tyrant, excuse me, is a dragon, 4/4 flyer. And yeah, he's just mean. He starts messing with your opponent's land base. Ambitious Dragonborn is one of my least favorite cards in this deck. I just haven't had real good luck with this, but late game it can be pretty explosive. Muralist is your dragon tutor, aka go get Tiamat that then goes and gets more dragons. Good stuff. Young Dragon is scrying, card selection, and drawing. Labyrinth is one of those awesome blue dragons that came as part of the 2022 new player experience, and it's just a perfect slot for him in this deck. Juvenile Mist Dragon, for each opponent tap up to one target creature. Each of those creatures doesn't untap until its controller's next untap step, so it's a mini sleep effect, pretty nice. Time Warp, nothing to see here. It's a terrible card, I don't know why I'm running it. Warrior of Tiamat, Haste, Double Team, 4/2, seems good. Goldspan Dragon, if you've been around Arena for like the last 2 years, you're probably familiar with this card. It's been good, it continues to be good. Wrathful Dragon, this is one of those, you might not have this in your collection, and it may not be worth the wild card to you, but I really like it, particularly in a dragon-based deck. Just becomes a troublesome blocker and removal. Very, very nice. Skanos is probably the most explosive card in the deck, allowing you to just pump the fool out of one of your dragons that is difficult to block, and ta-da. Lozhan? I've never actually tried to say that out loud. Whenever you cast an adventure or dragon spell, this card deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to any target that isn't a commander. We're not in commander, so all targets are valid, including your opponent's face. Good stuff. Thrakos makes all of your dragons bigger and tougher. Well, actually just bigger, not tougher. That's good. Draconic Lore, draw cards, Inferno, with all the different ways that you have to pump dragons, not just mana, but things like Thrakos that'll double it up, Skanos that'll make it even bigger. This can hit 20 and just win out of nowhere very easily. Emerald Dragon is an unusual green counter ability, and a 4/4 flying trample dragon, not bad either. Sword Coast Serpent, a nice bounce effect on the adventure side, and it's difficult to block when the Serpent Dragon itself actually comes into play. Lindhorn is mid-game counters, +1/+1, and gives hexproof, which is a nice way to protect something mid-game. It cannot be blocked by creatures with power 3 or less, so again, a difficult to block creature, very nice. Tiamat, of course, your 5-color legendary dragon god that tutors up 5 dragons to your hand. Very solid. A 7/7 flyer for 7 mana is pretty good, even without the tutor abilities. From there, we've got a pretty basic Teamer mana base. I think we talked about this briefly. Ancient Ziggurat taps for anything you need, along with some of these other things. Labyrinth is a nice little commander-style effect that allows you to take their biggest threat out of the equation every single turn for a mana investment. So if you're behind, this allows you to stay in the game until you can do something to hopefully catch up. Temple of the Dragon Queen, this is one of those cards I hope you have. If you don't, if you love dragons, it's worth the wild card. If you don't love dragons, it probably isn't. But this allows me to do some of that mana fixing to eventually be able to cast something like Tiamat. Very, very nice. So there you go, guys. There's the deck. I hope you enjoy it.
What's that? You didn't catch all that? Well, Matt would like you to know that any deck list applicable to this video can be found down in the doobly-doo. Hey, let's not forget, the whole reason to participate in these totally free midweek Magic events is the prize support is awesome.
All right, before we wrap things up, just like with Midweek Magic, if this video gets just 10 likes, I will be live playing this event Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time over on the Twitch channel. So feel free to join me for that. And if you want to make sure it happens, hit the like button down below. What I really wonder about this format is this a replacement for Singleton, or is this going to be kind of a one and done outreach to the Gladiator community? I guess we'll see. And with all that having been said, don't forget, smash that like button like Ronnie J would. And no matter where in the world you are watching this from, I hope you have a magical day. And until next time, I'll see you in the arena.